Ken was just a normal boy. He lived in a small town. He went to school. He played cricket with his friends. Life was simple, predictable. One day things felt different. A strange feeling crept into Ken's mind, like a whisper in the wind. He couldn't quite grasp it. Ken brushed it off. He thought it was just his imagination. Little did he know, a storm was brewing, a storm inside his own mind. It happened one night. Ken was lying in bed, trying to sleep. Suddenly he heard it, a voice, clear as day, but no one was there. "Hello, Ken," the voice said, deep and raspy. Ken sat up, heart pounding. Fear gripped him. Who was talking? He looked around the room. Empty. He was all alone, or was he? Or was... The voice continued to speak. It called itself Zarath. It told Ken secrets, dark secrets, things that no one else knew. Zarath's words were like poison, sweet at first, but then they burned. They whispered doubts. They planted seeds of anger. Ken tried to ignore it. He tried to pretend he didn't hear Zarath, but the voice was always there, a constant presence in his mind. School became a struggle. Ken couldn't concentrate. Zarath's voice kept interrupting his thoughts, making it hard to focus. His teachers noticed. They asked if something was wrong. Ken just shook his head. He couldn't tell them his secret. Who would believe him? Ken felt trapped, alone in a crowd. He was carrying a burden that no one else could see. Section 5. Friendships tested. Ken's friendships suffered too. He became withdrawn, irritable. His friends didn't understand. They thought he was acting strange. Arguments started. Distance grew between them. Ken felt himself slipping away from his friends, from himself. He wanted to reach out, to explain, but the words wouldn't come. How could he explain the unexplainable? Section 6. Seeking answers. Ken knew he couldn't keep this up. He needed answers. He needed help. He started reading books about myths and legends, about the supernatural, anything that could explain Zarath. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Ken searched for answers. He wouldn't give up. He had to understand. Section 7. Embracing the shadow. One day Ken stumbled upon a book. It talked about inner demons, about the voices inside our heads, voices that could be controlled. A glimmer of hope sparked within Ken. Maybe he wasn't crazy. Maybe there was a way to deal with Zarath. He started to listen, not to the darkness in Zarath's words, but to the fear behind them. He began to understand. Section 8. A journey begins. Ken began to talk back to Zarath, to challenge his negativity, to assert his own will. It was a struggle. But slowly, things began to change. Ken wasn't free of Zarath, not yet, but he was learning to live with him, to control him, to turn his darkness into strength. This was just the beginning. Ken's journey was far from over. But he had found his courage. He had found his strength. He would face whatever came his way.